Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the First Time Twin Fin by RYD Brand. So the First Time is a performance twin epoxy softboard by RYD Brand. It's been made in collaboration with Caio Ibelli. I hope I said his name right. People might be familiar with Caio, World Tour Surfer, been on tour for the last like 5 or 10 years, absolute ripper. Supposedly he shaped a twin fin and then they put it into this epoxy soft board that everyone can kind of get off the rack now. So this is the 5.9. I believe it comes in 3 sizes, and the 5.9 is 5.9 by 25/8 by 2.5, and it's 34.6 litres. So looking over it, kind of a performance twin fin outline. Holds a little bit of width through the front end, but not crazy. It's not overly wide like more of your kind of fishy twin fins, but it does hold a little bit of width, nothing crazy. And it actually gets quite narrow through the back end of the board. And that tail comes in, there's like kind of like a little bump, squashes in to a really nice tight little swallowtail. So really easy to get on, pivot, nice and loose off the back end when you get your foot over it. Like I was saying, it's not overly wide, and at 34.6 litres, quite a bit of volume, and where it gets that volume is in its thickness. So if you look at the side profile there, a little bit of rocker, nothing too crazy, bit of nose lift through the top and bottom, and a bit of tail rocker through the bottom of the board, but that rail is quite thick. So if it's 2.5 in the centre, it's going to be 2.5 not far off the rail, maybe half an inch, and then it drops away, but it's still very thick under the hand, and it's a very thick rail as it comes up here. It doesn't thin down too much. So lots of volume to paddle, make surfing really easy. And yeah, it holds a lot of volume through that thickness of the board. Flipping it over, not sure what's going on the bottom. It's a softboard, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it does feel like there's a big V, maybe even a double through the fins. But you can feel this V on those swallows. So what that's going to do, you're going to get back on that board. It's going to be really loose when you get your back foot on here to pivot, snap it in and out of turns. Really easy to surf, really easy to turn. So I saw some clips last year of Caio Ibelli. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. Surfing the first time, and I think it was a Backdoor. And it wasn't small Backdoor. Look, might be small Backdoor by Hawaiian standards, but it would have been kind of like 3, 4 to kind of 6 foot. He's pulling into a few, doing some epic kind of turns. And seriously, if someone didn't tell you, you would not know it was a softboard the way it performed. So I saw that, had a chat with the guys at RYD, and I was pretty keen to check it out. So yeah, the First Time is, as I said, it's an epoxy softboard. So what that means is that the core is that of an epoxy surfboard pretty much, and it's wrapped in a soft exterior to keep it safe and be able to surf in the flags and, you know, not hurt kids and all that sort of stuff. So I believe it's a carbon laminated stringer down the center. It's an epoxy core, and then it's a 6 ounce and a 4 ounce fiberglass over the top, and then it's a soft exterior, which I think they call a croc skin. So this is the croc skin that's on top. I've waxed it. You don't have to wax it. Surfing for 30 something years, I've always waxed a board before a surf. It feels kind of unnatural not to. So I've always waxed it. And what I do like about the epoxy is, like a normal surfboard, it will get light pressures in it, like a normal surfboard, and I like that. So under my front foot, which is about here, I can feel from the, like the ball of my foot and then my heel, little wells, and the same thing back here and there from where I've stood. I don't know, I guess I really like softboards, but I also love the feel of a proper performance surfboard, and I love that it gets those little foot wells that kind of feel like an actual surfboard, and it's kind of, you know where your feet go, and it feels really natural. And then flipping it over, I'm not sure what the bottom is. It's like a slick that you'd find on like a bodyboard or whatever. It's kind of soft under it, but then still kind of hard, and it looks pretty cool, to be honest. In the First Time, they give you some really simple fins, so you can like just whack them in and go. But they call it a 1-tab system, which is futures pretty much. And RYD do a whole bunch of fins that are fiberglass and that, twin fins that you can throw in this board. What I put in it was the T1s by Futures, and I believe they're called a thermotech technology. So people call them plastic. They're not actually plastic. They're a composite between plastic and fiberglass. So they're part fiberglass, part plastic. So they are pretty firm. I'm pretty heavy at like 92, 95 kilos. It's got a bit of flex in them, but they still feel stiff enough to surf without a stabilizer as a twin only, and to hold my weight and turn and everything. So this felt really, really good. Because it is an epoxy core, you can whack a proper fiberglass, full-blown fiberglass, if you've got the fiberglass T1s or any of the fiberglass twin fins that RYD do to check out with the board. They will go in there perfectly, but I did surf this board in the flags. I was giving my kids a go and stuff like that, so I wanted to keep it kind of safe, even though these are a hard fin. You know, I'd rather be hit by this than a full-blown glass fin. So T1's felt epic, but do check out RYD, do a bunch of twin fins that you can whack in this and any board or whatever, and I'm sure they'll be absolutely perfect for this board. The first time is for probably almost anyone, whether it is your first time surfing or if you've surfed at quite a high level and you want to softboard into summer that's going to get you, surfing the flags. In Australia, we tend to get the flags up, the lifeguards put the flags up and they tend to put them wherever the best bank is. So if you're riding a fiberglass surfboard, you cannot surf between the flags. So the last few years, softboards and especially epoxy softboards have become very, very popular with young surfers and dads and everyone in between. And this has been absolutely epic. Like I said, it's got that epoxy core. So what that does, it keeps the board feeling very stiff. So it's not flexing. A lot of softboards can bend a lot under your feet and feel a bit shattery. When you pump, they don't quite kind of gain the speed and momentum you would on a normal surfboard. But this does. It's not bending under your feet. So it does have that very natural surfboard feel. So, if you're at the beach with your kids or whatever, and you want a board that you can push them on some waves, it's absolutely epic. But if you want to pop out for a few sneaky ones where the waves are kind of 1 foot junk up to, 4 or 5 foot and kind of pumping, this thing would do really, really well. And with that as well, like I love softboards and we've checked out a few, but a few of them, especially when it gets 4 foot or something, and if you're a heavier, like you're an adult riding it, they don't like bigger surf and I feel they tend to bend under your feet and you don't get that forward momentum and drive you do with, your stiffer and regular surfboards. But this does. This stays stiff and it keeps driving, doesn't feel like it's bending, and you could surf it. I surfed in waves up to kind of overhead like 4 foot or something, and I'm sure it will handle even bigger if you really wanted to. But yeah, I think it's for someone who's getting into surfing, wants to get off, say, like a mini mal mid-length softboard on something a bit shorter. This could be that step between that and a performance or like a fiberglass surfboard. Or like I said, someone who surfs at a high level and wants something for summer to get between the flags, surf shories, all that sort of stuff. The first time is absolutely epic. There's a V that runs out the tail, and with this tight little tail and the twin fin, when you get back on that, you can just turn it. It's really easy to turn, feels nice and loose. So up the front, you've got all this kind of forward volume. Paddling's really nice, moves forward really well. Get into lots of waves, like it's got a few extra liters on my shortboard, so you're paddling into everything. But then when you jump back, you can kind of jam it. And we've got some clips that you'll see, some pretty B-grade surfing, maybe C-grade you might call it, even worse. But I was just trying to show how the board goes in average conditions that most people would surf in. And the thing was a whole lot of fun, really easy to get on the waves and really, really easy to surf. Overall, loved it. I love my softboards, especially epoxy softboards, and a chance to check them out. I always feel like you go for a surf on one of these boards, you have really low expectations, and surfs with low expectations ends up being pretty fun. So yeah, the first time was a whole bunch of fun, and I'd like to thank the guys at RYD Brand for connecting us with the first time and giving us a chance to check it out. Look, I've really enjoyed it, and hopefully you get a chance to check one out too. Thanks so much for watching.